put the privacy screen up. That's what I call it.
For the past 5 months, Jessica Miles has been living out of her car, sharing the SUV with their 17-year-old daughter. Most nights, they park their car on the West LA VA campus in Westwood.
Yeah, we can stretch out, do that morning stretch.
Jessica, among 14 veterans now suing Veterans Affairs for failing to build housing on the West LA campus. Back in 2011, homeless veterans sued the VA seeking the same thing.
Is there a world in which these leases would be deemed illegal and you would have to, the judge would rule that you would have to vacate this land? Would you do that?
Well, I think anything is possible. The value that is inherent in this collaboration is greater than an empty vacant lot would be.
The VCRE.
Did you hear that? It was a freaking yes or no question. If the judge ordered you to vacate, would you vacate? She didn't say yes. They subliminally let you know, screw the judge. It's bigger than what, oh gosh. She called it an empty lot. No, sweetheart, it's supposed to be housing.
Only accessible certain hours of the day, and veterans like those suing the VA believe this land should solely belong to them.
Did you see the gate that separates us? That's disgusting to me. You have to wait to be let in. It's all the same land though. So just treat us like you actually give a crap. They don't.
Regarding the lawsuit that you're named on, right, that this article's or this news story is referencing, what about it? How do you feel about that, or what do you think the representation is?
I don't agree with that lawsuit, and I was very boisterous with her in that interview. She actually didn't use any of our conversation about that lawsuit, because she asked me about it, of course, right? So her whole 5 minutes was that lawsuit. But then the part of Jessica doesn't mention my thoughts on the lawsuit. Come on, stop, don't do that. So like I told her, I do not agree with that lawsuit. I'm trying to get off of that lawsuit. I feel as if, first off, why are we attacking the VA? It's not the VA, it's Braverman, it's Merchant, it's the poor leaders of the VA. You do not attack the entirety of that organization. When we first started with this lawsuit, January 2023, we all met up. It was after it all came out, and we met up with the attorneys here at the VA with the other, it was 7 attorneys and about 12 veterans. And we waited to the end and we asked very important questions. Where in the law, because we're speaking with attorneys, right? So you should have it in the back pocket. Where in the law does it state that no more than 20% of the building can be utilized by veterans? And what's his name? Rosenbaum apprised me after he said, you shouldn't trust me, Jessica. He said that. He says to me, I can get that to you by Friday. That was over a year ago. I never received that information. It's still very much so a very important question. I want to see the law that states that, because it makes no sense. It's veterans' land, but no more than 20% can occupy a building. So ever since then, haven't gotten any follow-up with that. You have court dates, you don't tell us about it. You're trying to turn it into a class action lawsuit after we all verbally agreed we don't want that. How about you help the veterans that you already are supposed to be helping before you try to go make this about all veterans? You're not even helping us. I have so many discriminatory things coming against me as far as housing. I've reached out to all of these attorneys, and they just referred me back to the VA UCLA clinic. So that's how I feel about that lawsuit. I feel like they just needed some veterans, just like they did at the first lawsuit, to make it look good for them. Because if you really sit down, it's the VA suing the VA. It's the VA attorneys. Rob Reynolds is a VA employee. What sense is any of this making? I've heard billions when I've heard this budget. I've met another female veteran Army sleeping in the car with her 15-year-old son. How is this? And then she tells me they've been bothering her for 4 years. She doesn't even speak up. She's one of those quiet ones. So if they're doing that to the ones that's quiet and the ones that's not, it doesn't even matter. At this point, everyone needs to just say something.
If the result is someone says, hey, Jessica Miles, we saw this video, you're no longer on this lawsuit, is that something?
That's fine with me. I'm actually going to write them an email, because I learned recently all I have to do is just send them a letter stating to remove me and rescind my signature on those documents. Because what they've been trying to do is, let's meet. When I tell them I don't want to be a part of the lawsuit, can you just send me the documents to sign? It's never they just send me the documents. It's always let's meet so they can have an opportunity to try to manipulate me and suck me back in. I don't want to meet. I don't want anything to do with you all because you should have helped the veterans on your lawsuit immediately. I mean, when I say discriminatory things have been happening to me, these attorneys do nothing. Even when my daughter was in Child Protective Services, I had several attorneys on this lawsuit that doesn't even support or help or even reach out and say, hey, I saw what happened. Do you need any legal help or advice? Nothing. And then I had to think, they're inner city law, correct? That's who the VA referred me to when I tried to get my security deposit back from my landlord in Palmdale, who did nothing for me, by the way. Absolutely did not get the security deposit back. So when I hear of their names, it's like, I don't even take them seriously. You couldn't even help with a little security deposit.
So I believe the law firms that are contracted with the VA are, if I'm not mistaken, Public Counsel and Inner City Law, and those are the attorneys representing the homeless and disabled veterans to sue the VA. It seems, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there seems to be a conflict of interest.
I don't see why we're suing the VA. It's the developers that's the issue. All of my discrimination has come from places like Village for Vets, Rebecca Rickey, or US Vets. Can't even remember their names. I had to remove myself from them. They were so toxic. Or Path with Kevin Ogle calling CPS on me. This is my VA worker calling Child Protective Services on me. How is any of this? This is the people that the VA refer us to. You need to stop those connections with these entities that's not helping veterans seriously. Village for Vets is because they don't just do one little thing, they try to blow it up. Like, it's bad enough you called the police on me, you called CPS, you got us living in the car again. You have to think the only place the VA refers us to is everyone who's connected to land grab. Village for Vets, US Vets, PATH, they're all connected to the land grab. So it's like the same problem, just with a different VSO.
Right.
That's the problem.